One of the first 434 videos I made was the somewhat controversial video called Evil Explained, and this story I'm about to tell you now should have probably been a continuation of that video. Occasionally during my trips, I get visited or attacked by what I consider to be evil entities. Bad machine elves exist, and they are the type of entities who want to feed off of your energy. I met a few of them, and some of them took advantage of me, dragging me into their dark, low-frequency dimensions by pretending to be a good entity. I fell for it once or twice before I learned a few things about myself. When the machine elves met me for the first time, they told me that I'm a high-energy being, and I'm not sure if that's the nature of my non-physical form or whether it is the power of the energy that I have, but I quickly realized after a few interdimensional travels that I am quite powerful. I can easily scare off and protect myself from evil entities. In fact, a few times I actually overpowered machine elves and their resistance to some things I didn't agree with. It wasn't smart. As you can see, I'm a rebel both in this and other dimensions. They told me when I started getting in contact with them that I need to be careful about what I do with my power. And this story is about that. Before I tell you about it, just a quick support request. As you know, YouTube is not my friend, and these videos are not monetized. 434 can only exist if you finance it. It is not a big deal to you, but it means the world to me because it allows me to continue with what I do. It is very easy to join Patreon or Subscribestar, and you don't need an account to transfer money with PayPal. You can also do a bank transfer or use cryptocurrencies. All links in the video description and at join.b434.com. Thank you for your support. Also, a quick reminder about meetups in Manchester and London in a few weeks. Go to meet.b434.com if you want to meet with me and other 434 members. On one of my early trips, I met a huge interdimensional entity. It looked like a dragon, and I knew it was bad. You can sense the negative vibe from these entities, and you can feel the accumulated low vibrational frequency when you're in their presence because they change the metaphysical environment you're currently in. This particular machine elf, if I can call it that, was exceptionally evil, and I could see that it's an energy parasite I've met before, but in a much bigger form. I already have had some experience with defending myself from evil entities, and I decided that this one is going to be the test of my powers. I thought, I'm going to see how strong I am and what I can do to this entity. Normally, these machine elves drag you to their dark dimensions and they do whatever they want with you, and you're just stuck defenseless waiting for the ordeal to end. When I realized that this dragon machine elf has no ability to fight back, I started getting confident trying to scare it off, and then I started chasing after it. And then I thought, I'll take it a step further, and I decided that I'll destroy it. It is difficult to explain in human words how you can kill an entity with your metaphysical powers, but when you're filled with energy bigger than theirs, you can easily do it with your intention, and once you focus and concentrate all of this intention, it turns out that you can use it as an energy weapon and it becomes lethal. So once I discovered my potential, I threw something like a mental net that started squeezing the entity, and it made it shrink to the point where it couldn't shrink anymore, and it exploded with energy-filled white light. I killed the dragon machine elf with one single thought, and I was so happy that I have those powers. As soon as I killed it, I started getting telepathic uploads in form of the history and the meaning of the existence of that machine elf, and I also could sense that something very bad has just happened. The messages could have been coming from the energy that the entity released once I crushed it, but as soon as my human brain started unpacking the messages, I realized what I've done. One by one, the messages explained how that entity was an ancient and inseparable part of the machine elf world. Although I considered it evil, the actions and the effect it had on other entities was a part of their development process, and the dragon entity had a long, sacred journey itself that lasted for eternity. I was shown how other entities attacked by the dragon were going through important existential lessons, and how this has been the process going on forever, and how it was all a well-working system that I didn't know about and I didn't understand. I was shown the aspects of the existence of this ancient entity that were not definable in terms of good and evil. They were just a part of its existence, and it showed me how the entity itself had its purpose and its own developmental process. And I destroyed it and disrupted all of this with my senseless act of violence. I also felt suddenly being surrounded by an overwhelming sense of interdimensional disapproval and disappointment coming from everywhere. There was no machine elf contact anymore, and I could feel that I did a bad thing. Once I unpacked all the messages, I noticed I was starting to sober up. Within a few seconds, my trip was over and I was back in this reality as if nothing happened. The trip ended after not even 2 hours, which was very unusual for me, and it's something that had never happened before. And this is where things got really strange. In the next 6 months after this event, I tried taking mushrooms twice, and they just wouldn't work. I'm very sensitive to any substances, and this is something that had never happened to me before. I was worried that I would never be able to access the outer dimensions again, but exactly 6 months later, almost to the day of that incident, I was allowed to come back, and as soon as I got in contact, Machine Elves told me that the 6-month ban was a punishment for what I did. They explained to me that it was very human and very immature. They told me that the entities normally don't die and that they are definitely not killed by anything, so what I did was a huge violation of the Machine Elf world rules, and it was an interdimensional transgression. I learned that I absolutely misused my powers and overstepped the boundaries of transcendental conduct. Machine Elves gave me an explanation that is similar to the one I covered in the Evil Explained video. Good and evil are earthly human concepts that don't exist outside of our realm. What we see here as evil in our dimension is simply training. We don't understand the multidimensional aspects of our existence here, and we definitely don't understand the interconnectivity of everything in this and other realms. I went into that dimension not only with a very human approach to evil, but also I allowed my ego to take over my intentions. Machine Elves had a big problem with me always questioning everything in trying to test them and the existence of other dimensions, and that was a part of it. And this time I went too far. It was a very ego-driven thing where I just wanted to prove to myself that I have powers, which was absolutely unnecessary and so damaging in consequences. As I mentioned in one of the previous videos, respect is a big thing for Machine Elves, and that includes respect for things that we don't understand and don't know about. I'm not sure if the entities are so easy to destroy or whether it's my powers, but whatever it is, I've never tried it again and I don't think I ever will. I know that I brought in my human issues into a divine realm, and it says a lot about the state of human affairs in this dimension. I was very disappointed to see that I'm a part of it. It shows how far we are from our spiritual path of love and harmony, and how much we still have to learn before joining the inhabitants of other worlds. Being human is not easy for many reasons, but one of them is that we have very little control over our actions, and most of it depends on the size of our egos and how much control we allow it to have. Just to make it clear, by ego I mean that which helps us exist in and be accepted by society. It's that part of you that wants to have more and wants you to be more important than others. To this day I feel bad because of what I did, and it makes me feel ashamed how human I was in my assessment of the transcendental experience I was allowed to be a part of. Looking back at that experience, I can clearly see that ego is the essence of being human, and it's something that you should identify and get rid of as soon as possible to allow yourself to live a conscious and enjoyable life. Otherwise, you'll be just killing things around you for no reason, either in this or other dimensions. Love 434. If you have ever experienced any form of entity intervention in this reality, leave a comment below. I would love to hear about it. Please support 434 by going to join.b434. Me and others need this video to exist, and that can only happen with your help. Like and share this video and visit the websites of the artist and the musician I used in this video. Join all 434 social media and join my second YouTube channel. Remember about b434.com.